time. What is time? What is the concept of time? We can all agree that time passes so fast. Sometimes time passes so slowly. Is it linear? Or do we exist in vertical realities and different planes all at once? As I've read and tried to learn and understand, I can't say I understand it, let alone explain it. But it is worth exploring the concept of time. Welcome back to Life by Randy and LBR's book review as we continue our study into this amazing book. We are still on the beginning chapter of the Quantum You, because these concepts are so fundamental to understanding where we're going to be going as we dance through the book and ultimately end on meditation to rewire your brain. That's where it's leading. But for now, let's try to understand the concept of time and that quantum field that we've been discussing. Hang with me here for a minute. Page 26. Dr. Joe at the bottom says universal intelligence and the quantum field. I hope by now you agree on some basic underlying concepts of the quantum model, that all physical reality is primarily energy existing in a vast web that is interconnected across space and time. That web, the quantum field, holds all probabilities, which we can collapse into reality through our thoughts, our consciousness, observation, feelings, and state of being. But is reality nothing but indifferent electromagnetic forces acting on and in response to one another? Is the animating spirit within us simply a function of biology and randomness? I've had conversations, this is Dr. Joe, with people who hold this view, the randomness and function of biology. Ultimately, this discussion leads to a dialogue that goes something like this. Where does the intelligence that keeps our heart beating come from? Oh, that's a part of the autonomic nervous system. Where is that system located? The brain. The brain's limbic system is part of the autonomic nervous system. And within the brain, are there specific tissues that are responsible for keeping the heart beating? Yes. What are those tissues made up of? Cells. And what are those cells made up of? Molecules. And what are those molecules made up of? Atoms. And what are those atoms made up of? Subatomic particles. What are those subatomic particles composed of? Energy. Energy. When we arrive at the conclusion that our physiological vehicle, our body, is made up of the same stuff as the rest of the universe, then we see that the body is a form of energy. The same 99.9999%, quote, nothing, that constitutes the physical universe. There is something to that notion, then, that a unifying principle pervades all of physical reality. But isn't it ironic, then, that we keep all of our attention on the 0.0001% of reality that is physical? Are we missing something? Yes, we're missing something. We're missing a lot. As Dr. Joe states, he calls it the big three, that in order for us to access the quantum field, the infinite probabilities that exist out there that haven't been yet collapsed into a probability, it's the amount of their infinite probabilities that haven't yet been collapsed into our reality, circumstances in our lives. In order to do that, we must leave the big three: the environment, our body, and time. And we do this more than we think we do. How many times have you been driving or even at a red light and you're thinking about something? You're not thinking about driving, you're not thinking about the gas pedal, You're not thinking about your hands on the steering wheel. You're not thinking about the environment around you, and you're not thinking about the time. And you're kind of in a trance, and then you come to. You've just left your environment, your body, and time. You see, our brains have the innate ability for this skill. And that's the skill that we ought to be tapping into more and more, that this book teaches on the techniques of that skill. And it is through meditation. And it doesn't have to be kind of the meditation of sitting cross-legged on the floor that one conjures up. You could meditate at your desk. You could meditate in the kitchen. It's a state of leaving your environment, your body, and time, and going out into the quantum field, going outside of time and space, and creating, imagining, and being, and just being. So what is this quantum field? What is it like? Well, the quantum is a multidimensional reality that exists beyond your senses in a realm where there is no body, no thing, and no time. Thus, to move into that domain and create from that paradigm, you'll need to forget about your body for a while. You'll have to temporarily shift your awareness away from your external environment, all those things that you identify within your life, your spouse, your kids, your possessions, your problems. They're all a part of your identity. And through them, you identify with the outer world. And finally, you will have to lose track of the linear time. That is the moment you are intentionally observing a potential future experience. You will have to be so present that your mind no longer vacillates between memories of the past and expectations of the same as usual future. Now, to me, I love doing that because there's such freedom there. We all have concerns and issues and wounds from the past and traumas. It's been pretty brutal. And these last 3 years have really worked to challenge us on a variety of ways, and who to trust and what what the heck's really going on. And so I love going out there in the quantum field and meditating and leaving myself, my thoughts, my past, my now, my issues, everything behind. It's a really fun thing to do. So in effect, we become pure consciousness. And again, our brain has the ability to harness this skill. We do this naturally. Since the quantum field is nothing but immaterial probability, it is outside of space and time. As soon as we observe one of those infinite probabilities and give it material reality, it acquires 2 characteristics. And the 2 characteristics waves of probability collapsed into particle reality right by our laser focus on it exist beyond time and space. So great. Page 33, we have the power to make material a reality of our own choosing by selecting it from the quantum field. But how do we somehow access that field? We're always connected to it, but how do we get the field to respond to us? That's the question, right? If we're constantly emitting energy, which we are, and therefore sending information to the field and receiving information from it, how do we communicate more effectively with it? That's what we want to learn. And that begins with observing the quality of our thoughts. That's why I talk so much about detoxing our brains, detoxing our minds, taking inventory of what we're thinking about. You've heard me say before, take a look at everything that's manifested in your life. Your job, your place of residence, any of your relationships, your spouse, your boyfriend, your partner, everything in your life. you take inventory of that, you look at that, and then you can judge for yourself, analyze for yourself the quality of your thoughts and what you're placing your focus on. Because what you place your focus and attention on, the quantum field matches and brings that continually into your existence. When I was younger, we'd go to fairs or amusement parks, and do you recall the little rubber duckies that would have a number on the bottom, and they would be lined up in a little stream, and you would pick up a little rubber ducky and, okay, lucky number 13, and it would match a prize that you would get. Easy enough concept. That is my simple way of understanding the infinite probabilities out there in the quantum field for me to access. So in my mind's eye, I see all the bobbing little rubber duckies. But yet, I get to choose which one I want. What is my ideal outcome? What am I feeling in resonance with myself, my higher self, my creator? What is in resonance that is for my best and highest good and that of all concerned? What is that outcome? And that's what I'm intending for. What feels the best to me? We have that ability. That's how this reality functions. And that's the secret. That's the key. Stay tuned. We're going to continue to dive in deeper to this concept and continue to learn now how to do it in the episodes to come. Thanks for tuning in and spending your time, your precious time with me.